Oh, hey, welcome to Three Conservative Gimps. We're not the Ken Herron Show. Welcome, everybody. I hope you guys like the new day and time. Everybody's getting used to the new changes, but I kind of like it Thursday. It leaves the weekends where I could do whatever I want, and I'm not competing against football on Sundays. So we got a lot to talk about. We had a debate uh, when last week? Yeah, sometime last week. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about what's going on with the aftermath of Hurricane Helene, and we'll talk about Jared Polis on Hannity, of all places. We'll talk about that. So let's get this show going. Let's welcome my old pal from Muskogee, Oklahoma, when he's not slipping off his bed. Let's welcome Lloyd Mendenhall. Welcome.
Hey Art, how you doing? How's everybody doing in the chat?
I'm doing pretty good today. Tired, another 9+ hour day at work. Beautiful day, a lot cooler. It's starting to feel like fall out there. We were in the upper 60s today.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. We were a lot cooler today too in Oklahoma. Have been for a couple of days. It was a nice weekend. Matter of fact, I have a portable air conditioner that I have in my bedroom, and I have it set on automatic, and I had it set at 75, and I turned it on at night or during the daytime, and I just left it on last night. I got up this morning and it felt just a little warm. I thought, well, what the hell? I went over there, it got cold enough that it automatically kicked on the heat. On the unit, because it's a heat pump system, so it switches back and forth, and automatically I was sitting there, good Lord. And so I shut it off and turned it back on a couple hours later, and it was, it's still cool. But yeah, we've been staying in the low 80s here the last few days.
Yep. Yesterday it was we got up to about 90 yesterday. Just before the show, I'm like going, what is that noise? And I go, oh, it's my furnace kicking in. So it must have cooled off, and it's going to be good sleeping tonight. The last few nights, it's hard to sleep when it's warm, but it doesn't get really, really hot down here. All right, let's welcome our good friend from the blue state of New York. It is Charles Galuski. Welcome, Charles. How you doing?
Hey, Art. Hey, Lloyd. Hey, everybody. Excuse me, everybody in the chat.
How you doing, Charles?
Good, Lloyd. How are you?
Can't complain. Well, I have a complaint, but I'll probably save that for my show on Monday.
Right. So, Charles, how's the weather in your area?
Charles, he was asking you.
I'm sorry, Art. You're on my end. On my end, you're breaking up, so I don't know what you said.
I said, how is the weather in your neighborhood?
You're both. I'm sorry, guys. You're both breaking up. I have no idea what you're trying to say to me, if anything.
Can you hear me, Charles?
Right now, I can.
He was asking, what's the weather like
there?
Oh,
how's the weather? Well, it's lovely. It's moderate. It's like low to mid 70s. Sunny days. Yep. No rain. It's beautiful.
Cool. Good. Great.
Good. Okay, so we had a debate the other night. We had Vance Walz debate, and just like the presidential debate, they started off with fact checking, and boy, Vance just tamped that down right away.
Yeah, he got right on him for that.
It's liberals. They cannot keep a promise. They just will not hold on to a deal. They'll screw you no matter what.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are seeing that, and even though they were trying to spin that Walz won the debate, but he might have won the debate if he was debating Joe Biden. But
right.
he didn't hold a candle to Vance,
Right. Yeah.
And he says some really stupid things like being friends of the shooters.
Yeah.
Like, and he's came out and gave some half-ass explanation of what he meant, and still nobody understood what he was trying to say. So, like, and that's the guy that's going to take over for Kamala if all hell were to break loose.
Right.
God help us.
Yeah, and you say he's a knucklehead. Well, I agree with him on that.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the only honest thing he said in the whole damn debate.
Yeah, you're right. Just about a good portion of it was lies. Like you say, he was at Tiananmen Square.
Yeah. Well, he's come back and said that he was in China during that general time period of the uprising, but he's not really sure whether he was actually there at the time or not. That's what he said now. It's like, well, if you don't think you were there or you're not sure, why in the hell would you say it?
Right.
The guy, he really is one of those guys. There's a guy on YouTube that goes around, and I can't remember his name now, but he goes after guys claiming to be Navy SEALs, stolen valor. And Walz really is starting to qualify for that. He's starting to say he's been places, done things, and done this and that.
Mm-hmm.
When he hasn't,
Mm-hmm.
And here's a question: was he still in the military when he was in China? And why was a U.S. member of the military in China during that time period?
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep. Although he did get married in China, though.
He did.
Yeah, I believe he got married on the 5th anniversary of the Tiananmen Square massacre. Yeah. Tiananmen Square sounds like a Chinese cereal. Yeah.
Tiananmen Square crunch.
A bowl of Tiananmen Squares. Sounds like a massacre in your mouth.
Like she said when on the summer 2020 when it was burning down in Minnesota, she said she liked the smell of it. So maybe she was enjoying all the gunfire and the shooting over in Tiananmen Square.
Right? Yeah.
She's as Joey says, she's a whack job.
Yeah.
But
maybe she was having a flashback from Apocalypse Now.
Yeah. This and as far as this, I hate to say it, as a vice president, he's going to be less presidential than Joe Biden was under Obama.
Yeah.
Because this whole jumping up and down, the waving thing with like waving at the people, like, what the hell is that? That's not very presidential. I mean, have some decor. And that's another thing. He was supposed to, he made it to E8. He said he made it to E9, but he never finished. He never went through and took the senior NCO course that he had to keep the rank. So they put him back to his previous rank. He retired as an E8. But the fact that some guy like that retired from the U.S. Army, and I know guys that have spent the 20 years in and were E8s or E9s when they got out, and let me tell you, none of them act like that sissy boy does.
Yeah. Yep.
It is a poor excuse for representation of the military, and he certainly does not deserve the job of vice president. I was trying to think of Bush 41's vice president, and it just hit me. Dan Quayle.
Dan Quayle.
And I was having a talk with Grant or with
Mel.
The other night on the phone before my unfortunate mishap. So, but anyways, but we were talking about it. I said, Dan Quayle, because he couldn't spell the word potato, he was made fun of, and it really kind of ruined him. But he was a very educated and intelligent person.
Yes,
he just couldn't spell it. Hell, I don't know if I could spell it if I had to, just off the top of my head. And and they ran with that. But yet they made so much fun of him, but yet they got Walz out there that is a blithering idiot. And it's like, oh, he won the debate. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell you people were watching, but I wasn't seeing that one.
Well, that's because
Opium.
He's their person, right, Charles?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't watch the debate, but I saw some clips afterwards and I saw some reactions to it. And this one, I can't remember what network she was on, but there were like two newscasters on different networks saying, "Oh, Vance is so slick, you know, he's so polished," and like that was a bad thing. And they go, "Walz is just sort of, you know, kind of folksy and like your grandfather." And he's like, "No, he's no. You don't get those expressions on your face if you're folksy."
Yeah. That was the problem. They've gone around portraying Vance as somebody who's weird and strange. And he come out there and was a professional politician doing his job the way a good leader would. You know, he presented himself very professionally. He dealt with, and he was nice about it. That was the other thing. They expected this weird, crazy guy, you know, and like a lot of people have said, Trump does Trump, you know, that's him. But his policies work no matter, you know, his speeches might be iffy sometimes. But like when they called him on that fact checking or on that to prove it, well, he actually afterwards, he had the information. It was somebody sent it to him on his phone, and he went over and showed those two journalists or whatever the hell they were. They weren't journalists. Moderators, yeah. He went and showed them the proof, and they just like, and it shut him up. He shut him down. He says, "I'll get the proof," and he got it before it was over. And as soon as it was over, he went over and showed it to him. But yeah, he came in very professional. And Walz was he's just a blithering idiot, you know. And like I said, going back to old school, he makes Dan Quayle look smart, you know.
Yeah.
The thing is, Dan Quayle was smart. I just think he got a bad rap. He was very smart.
Poor timing, you know.
Oh yeah. It was
moment.
Yeah.
And
blame it on his boss, because he's the one who said, "Read my lips, no new taxes," and then did it anyway. So
right. And also, there's a Democrat shill on TikTok named Harry Sisson, and he's going on, "Oh yeah, Walz, he really brushed it," and then the older millennial guy just, you know, refuted everything that Harry said. And Harry, if you ever see him, he's a typical liberal soy boy. You know, his face is all paley, and it looks like he's putting on, like he put on some rouge on his cheeks, and
wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, he just looked, you know, effeminate, you know. And not like somebody you could take seriously. And the way he comes off, and it's like,
I don't see how anybody takes a lot of those people serious. I mean, I just can't understand it, you know. But I like what Joey said. Walz had his tampon in.
Yep. And there's another shill. Her name is Under the Desk. That's her name of her channel. And I've seen a lot of people just refute what she says. Trump even actually used some of her stuff in his commercials. Just saying, "Yeah, we agree," you know. And it's like, all right, you know, great ad. You know?
Walz just, I mean, that was just pure silliness, and there's no way for him to recover from that. And I think, you know, and barring any complications, some of the trending in the polls and some of the statistics that are coming out, it's throwing Trump into the lead. Although there's one that came out yesterday that I think he went down a little bit in Pennsylvania, but I think he's still slotted to take Pennsylvania because some of the polls that they're taking are, really skewed one direction. And so
Right.
we'll see. I am optimistically hopeful, but
Yeah.
if we don't win, God help this country.
Oh, yeah. But you got to remember, I think a lot of what happened in 2016 in the polls there, I think is happening here. I think there's still a lot of people that they don't want to say they're going to.
Right. And I think that's a lot of what's going on is they're just not saying what. I don't answer polls. I won't answer them.
Oh, I won't either. I'll
Yeah.
be at work and I'm, when my phone rings, my watch starts vibrating. That's my notification. And I'll see some phone number, and it's usually a local number. And later I'll check if they left the message. And 9 times out of 10, they don't.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I
just don't mess with them because even if one gets through, I said, sorry, I don't want to participate in your poll. And then they asked why. I said, because no matter what I say, you guys are going to spin it the way you want it. And I don't care if you support the Democrat or the Republican, you're still going to not tell what I feel. So I'll just let you go make up your facts without my input.
Right. There you go. And I think what's different about 2020 is because Trump was coming off of that, pandemic. And I think that's what really.
Well, yeah, in 2020, we were really kind of hitting at the height of the pandemic. It was just, we hadn't started recovery yet after, and we probably would have got through it sooner had he been reelected. But Biden, I think, Biden did things and stuff that I think made it go longer than it should have.
Right. Actually, the recovery was going very strongly until, Biden got elected and just started undoing everything that Trump did. And that's what slowed it down. And that's how we got this inflation going, where
right
out of sight, and our gas prices are going up and down.
Oh yeah, they're weird. They've just been, 1 week I'm paying, I don't know, $2.56, and next week I'm paying $2.79.
Right. Unlike, here we switch over to a different blend. I don't know if Oklahoma does that. If they
we go from the summer blend to the winter blend. Yeah.
Okay.
The summer blend is to help with the supposedly smog, but what it just, that's when our prices jump up, is in the springtime when they're switching over, because they've got to convert all of the refineries, and they have to shut them down, convert them, do that, and then change up the blend in order for it to work. So it's Pete Buttigieg banned drones in a recovery effort.
Yeah.
Also,
well, I think that's because they have a TFR going, because there's a lot of emergency response.
Yeah, the emergency.
You don't want.
Yeah, that's okay, but how far are they going to? How long are they going to go with it? Are they going to use this as an excuse to make it permanent?
Right.
That's always a concern, but and Joey, because we were going to talk about North Carolina and FEMA,
right,
and so he put up a really good comment. They're running out of money. FEMA's running out of money because they've used all the emergency funds to help pay for all the illegals.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they spent something like $700 million to house illegal aliens that came in. I mean, we're seeing it right here in Denver. We got a whole bunch of illegals that got bussed up to Denver, and you know what? There were a lot of Venezuelan gangs, and guess what Denver did? Oh, they shipped them to Aurora,
Aurora, yeah.
and that's where the gangs took over some apartment
buildings.
complexes.
Yeah,
Yep.
but yet the police are saying, no, that's not what that is, because they're trying to, I've been reading some of it too, and they're trying to spin it,
Right. The
we
media
don't
is
have any problems with that.
hmm hmm
But
And Trump was just here, what, a week and a half ago. He was here in Aurora,
right.
checking that out. You didn't see Harris or Walz come here.
No.
Because the media is spinning it like it never happened. And yet I'm seeing on the internet, everybody, on X,
Oh, yeah.
and even on TikTok, they're
Yeah.
all talking about it.
Right, right.
It's kind of like the old Italian extortion racket
Right.
that they back in the 20s and 30s.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Take over an apartment complex. Hey, how do you like to, not see this apartment burn down? Okay, there you go. They're shelling out the money for protection.
Yeah,
money.
yeah. They've got so many problems that I'm just hoping that during the 4 years, if Trump gets reelected during that 4 years, one, he's able to accomplish what he wants, and that Vance is able to be very involved with it to give him that,
experience.
Yeah, that will show he's ready for the number one position.
Right.
Because we need somebody in the Republican Party to take over after. Take over after Trump, because Trump becomes a lame duck the moment he says "I do."
Yep.
He's on. It's his second presidency, and he has nothing to lose. So.
Right. And so, yeah, it all depends on what happens in the Senate and the House races. I'm hoping that he gets in, that we have control over both, and that he'll be able to get a lot done, especially in the first couple years.
Yeah, I agree with you. Joey Vance will be the front runner if he gets in. But the other thing is this is where the Republicans always have it's one of their character faults, and that's the fact that when they get in there, they love to talk the game.
Mm-hmm.
But then when they finally get that control, they sit around with their thumb up their ass and don't know what. But we got to do this, we got to do that, and they never seem to have, because there's been times that they've had control, and they just, they may only have it for you. They're only going to have it for 2 years, maybe, and in that 2 years they screw around and don't do anything, and it's happened more times. That's what causes them to lose 2 years later. So if they don't work with Trump and they don't have an attack plan on this to get this stuff under control, in 2 years, Trump will have he'll be in the minority.
Yep. And look what happened to him last time. They'll impeach him again.
Yeah, they're going to try and impeach him for something.
Oh God, it's just
they just can't help themselves.
Right. Well, because Trump is such a lightning rod that he's
he is, yeah.
And I hated by the left. I mean, they actually believe that he's another, German
Adolf
guy with a mustache,
Adolf, yeah. And that's sad that they've got that mindset, and that they know it's BS, but they believe it anyways,
Mm-hmm.
And as they say, if you tell a lie often enough, eventually it will become the truth,
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that's what's scary, is that they're going to tell that lie so often that, people will, even if he were to be God forbid he were to be shot in office, they're going to say, well, he was a bad guy, and some
Right.
crap like that. But
Right.
it's just sad. And the fact that we got people out there that without power and without your just everyday needs. I mean, that is, but this is the same thing FEMA always does. They walk around and ask for money, and then they go spend it on something that is absolutely unnecessary. But then when something really comes up, they're like, well, we don't have any money. Yeah, you spend it all on stupid stuff.
Well, that's because they got moved into with the Department of Homeland Security.
Yeah, and that's another thing.
They would have kept that separate, then it would be a whole different thing. But
yeah, and they should have done the same thing with the Secret Service. The Secret Service should have stayed where the hell it was at. Homeland Security was to deal with the CIA and the FBI and the Justice Department, but to help communications there. It shouldn't have been for the Secret Service, and it shouldn't have been for FEMA,
Yeah. Yep.
It's FEMA, to be honest, has very little to do with security. When shit happens, those other guys take care of it. When it's all over, then they come in and help. Their job is to help clean up the mess, which they don't do.
Right.
And we've had, there's been so many, like, they look at how fast they've been working on getting that one bridge up, and they're spending money and stuff. Like you said, being part of Homeland Security was a big mistake. I mean, Homeland Security had a purpose, but they really didn't need to make a whole new cabinet position. All they had to do was just change some of the regulations they all had for communications, because that's what caused 9/11. They all had somebody on the radar, but they didn't need one didn't contact the other, and if they just gone in and changed that instead of starting a whole new department, and there again, I blame that on Bush and all of his old cronies from his dad's day, because they're more centrist and or even slightly I'll give him due respect, though, as at least he's found something to do. He's painting, so that's but let him keep painting. As long as he's in there with his little paintbrush, he's leaving the rest of us the hell alone.
Well, if you want any more information about FEMA, local talk show host here in Denver, you probably heard of this guy, Michael Brown.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He was head of FEMA during Katrina.
And yeah.
So I believe you could get his radio show online and listen to him. He's usually on Monday through Friday, I think from 8 until 10, I believe, on KHOW. So check that out.
Yeah.
He's a hoot. I like. When I used to work at my previous job, I used to listen to the guy, and he's great. I like him. I like him better than Ross Kaminsky, because Ross Kaminsky, he's a libertarian, and he really doesn't care for Trump, and he's not going to vote for Trump. And so, and the way I look at those people that are libertarians that won't vote Republican, they'll vote for a third-party candidate. Well, you're in essence voting for the opposition, because you're denying that. Yeah.
We at some time really need to have a third party people, but there's just not been enough movement in a third party to get anybody elected. They just, a lot of times they're, they're putting up people nobody's heard of, and they've done nothing, but they're libertarians. They just sit around and smoke their pot and bitch about the government. But other than that, you don't know what in the hell they stand for.
Well, don't forget Ross Perot. He had a pretty strong.
Yeah, he did. And
but it was not the Libertarian Party. It was what was? Oh, the Reform
I don't
Party.
remember the name of it, but that's what got Clinton elected the first time.
That's right. Mm-hmm. That's
right.
Yep.
It didn't matter what.
Who got George H.W. Bush elected?
Sorry. Hang on. Say it. Let me mute this.
Do you know who got George H.W. Bush elected?
No.
Ralph Nader.
Oh, yeah. I do remember that. Yes.
He was the deciding point down in Florida. Yeah. The Hanging Chads. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We got Ronnie in the chat. Good to see you, Ronnie.
Yeah, he says his internet, his cell data is buffering. So, but yeah, I forgot about that. God, is Ralph? He's not even alive anymore, is he? He finally did. He?
I think he did, but I don't.
If he is, he's pretty damned old. I can say that much.
Yeah. Now, if you go back to the late 19th century, early 20th century, we did have some pretty strong third-party candidates.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Like the Bull Moose Party, that got Woodrow Wilson elected, and Taft came in dead last.
Yeah.
And then there was another third-party candidate. I think they were a Republican spinoff that caused a Congress to come in and decide the election.
Right, yeah.
And that was I think that's the only time that's ever happened to where.
Yeah, I think it's only that one time, yeah. There was also, the American Socialist, the American Workers' Party, which was a socialist party.
Right.
They had a third-party candidate that, the last time he ran 5 times. The last time he ran, he actually pulled down got some electoral votes out of it. So, and he was in prison, so it would have, he'd had to pardon himself to serve, but but yeah, he was in prison for, I don't know what it was for. God, I have to look which one it was either in 1896 or 1900. I can't remember.
Right.
So, and his name was Eugene V. Debs, and I only know that because that was my father's middle name. Was Debs. So,
by the by, Ralph Nader is still alive. He's 90 years old.
90 years old. I knew he was getting up there. I wasn't sure if he was dead or not. So, thank you, Charles.
You're welcome.
Yeah, well, somebody send him a Corvair. There you go. Get him a 69 Corvair Monza Spider. Yeah. That's the one with the, I think it was the 120 horsepower engine. It had a beefy engine on it. And it was the best looking of the Corvairs. Yeah.
My cousin used to get those Corvairs and they'd take the motor out. And, because they were a flat pancake motor, he'd take them out. And I helped him with a couple of them. And he built airboats with them.
Oh, cool.
He built the metal cage and built the support for it and put it in there, and then added an airboat prop that was a pusher. And he it was a little scary when he was driving, though. He got let's see. I was with him and my uncle, his and my uncle, and he decided to go across this damn sandbar. I can make it. Didn't have quite enough oomph. There just wasn't quite enough water on the sandbar, because it was on an aluminum John boat,
Yep.
So And and we sat out there, and it took him and I about an hour to dig that damn thing down enough to get some water going. About that, and my uncle just sat there, and he was tossing out his line of fishing. He says, "When you boys get through, you can just take this damn thing back. I'm ready to go home now." And yeah, he that's the cousin I went down to visit here a couple of weeks ago down south of here. And but yeah, he's yeah, I helped him pull a couple of those motors out and set them up. He was really into it there for a while. And he was, those things can be dangerous, I'm telling you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, first one he fired up, the damn motor wasn't mounted quite right, or the prop wasn't on quite tight enough. It looked like something out of well, it would have been a great YouTube video because shit went flying everywhere.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
Looked like a helicopter crash.
Well, another perennial loser would be Adley Stevenson.
Yep. Yep.
I think he ran 3 or 4 times. Yeah. And,
yeah. I think the last time he ran was against
Eisenhower.
Oh, did he run again? No, he. Oh God, who took over after Roosevelt?
That'd be Truman.
Truman, yeah. Because they predicted that, all the polls predicted, and actually they went to press with it that Stevenson won, and there's a picture of Truman.
No.
Is that not the one?
No, that was Dewey.
Oh, Dewey, yeah, that's right. It was Dewey. I don't know why I was thinking Stevenson.
I
know that
by the way, he's cousin of McLean Stevens.
Yes, from
MASH.
MASH, yeah.
And Hello, Larry.
The what?
Hello, Larry.
Oh, yeah.
That's the show he left MASH to take over. And it only lasted
how good it was,
1 season.
Yeah, because I barely remember you guys like, hello, Larry. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that one. So, but yeah. Oh, let's see.
All right. So our illustrious governor here in Colorado showed up on Hannity, of all places.
Really?
So that, to me, I think he's trying to get name recognitions for a run for the Senate, because Hickenlooper says he's not going to run again. So I think he's vying to take that seat. And that's still going to be another stepping stone to the presidency.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like, didn't he follow Hickenlooper from the governorship? Didn't he come in behind him?
Yeah, he was a congressman.
Right.
And when Hickenlooper decided, well, he was term limited, decided he was going, well, actually, he ran for president. And when he lost, he decided to run for Senate. And while he was running for president, he said, well, I'm not interested in being a senator. And all of a sudden, he's interested in being a senator. And he defeated Cory Gardner, the incumbent.
Okay, yeah.
Who beat the incumbent Mark Udall before that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Something else.
Well, while you're thinking about that, Democrats have pulled out their usual playbook. Republicans are going to take away your Social Security, and they're going to ban abortion. The two legs of the stool. And and they're going to give tax breaks to the rich, which also I wanted to point out, most of the wealthy billionaires, what party do they belong? Oh, they're Democrats. And you know why they support the Democrat Party? Because they want to keep taxes high, because that prevents competition.
Yep.
Because, I mean, pretty soon it will end up just like Russia, with a bunch of oligarchs, wealthy oligarchs that are propping up the politicians.
Oh, yeah.
And the Democrats have went from becoming the party of the people to becoming party of the wealthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean,
Yeah,
just like Polis, he's a wealthy guy. He's worth $400 million, and he's left. Yes, Charles.
No, I'm no.
Oh, I thought I heard like you wanted to jump in.
No, not unless something happened with the stream coming up. No, no.
Oh, okay. It's all right. So I mean, he's left the state in shambles, because his partner is, he's a big animal rights guy, and he's the one that wants to reintroduce wolves to Colorado, which are decimating the cattle ranchers because they're killing the calves and they're killing the sheep that are being raised and the goats. So they got to deal with that. And so Polis, who did he pick for ag secretary? Oh, somebody from PETA, who then they found out was in some shenanigans. I guess she was a cat lady that had hundreds of cats, and they raided her house and found their house was, I mean, pretty much destroyed because of the filth and dead cats there. And so she was the one that was going after the ag business. So the people they keep putting into positions, and now the Colorado Parks and Wildlife, they're putting people in that are not biologists. They're putting in animal rights people into these positions. They want to ban trophy hunting. Like, that's a big deal. No, people hunt, for sport and to provide food for their families.
Well, and the thing is, that's the whole thing about the hunting seasons that's up there. We go through the same thing. It's to call out the herd.
Right. Otherwise, if you don't do that,
they're going to starve to death.
They'll starve to death, or you'll get genetic abnormality.
Yep.
Abnormalities.
Abnormalities, yes.
Abnormalities creeping in, and that damages the herds and kills
right.
And
I remember in Colorado when I started hunting, first year I hunted was the first year they made it bucks only, because the doe population had been hunted out so bad that I think the does they finally came along and started issuing doe tags.
Mm-hmm.
By the time I was a senior,
right.
And but yeah, I mean, moose and goose up there is always, for the most part, they haven't always done a good job,
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that's what we called them back then, moose and goose. Yeah, that's what we called the game department. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There in Colorado, everybody there called it moose and goose.
Okay.
Yeah, and they never, they didn't do a good job for a long time. I think they got better, but now it sounds like they're going back to some of their same. And that's sad that something like animal conservation is driven by politics and people that, the cat lady that has 100 cats, she's an animal lover, so she must be. Let's hire her to do this job. She's sure to know about it. And like, well, obviously she didn't know much. At least with somebody like, what's his name, Bob Barker. He always, he was pushing, spay and neuter your animal, and he's right. That's what needs to be done, because
Right.
them little son of a guns, they'll go at it like crazy, and they don't care,
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
but actually, I think that's part of the problem now, because we're getting a reverse ratio on deaths compared to births here in the United States.
Right. Mhm.
And we're starting to create a deficit, and some of these young people need to start getting busy or something, because
Yeah.
Well,
they're having that problem in Japan and China right now.
see, China back, it's been as long as I can remember, they put a limit on how many kids they could have,
Yeah, and they want it boys only.
Boys only. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think that's where some of the testing came out, was because they were trying to predetermine if that child was going to be a boy or a girl,
Right. Mhm.
And they were, I think that's why they were sort of, and then it started being shared everywhere. But, I think that's some of the because they were trying to limit how many girls were born in China,
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And now they're having problems because they don't have enough females out there to do all the, they don't have enough breed cows out there to take care of business,
Right. Like laundry and cooking.
Do what? What'd you say?
Oh, take care of the laundry and the cooking.
Yeah, that stuff. Yeah.
That stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. You misogynist pig, you. Oh, yeah.
Oh, Sexes would say.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched Gutfeld?
Oh, yeah. I was trying to think of what he said, and I couldn't remember how he said it, because when you said that, because that's what I was going to say to you, and I couldn't. The mind's a little foggy today, but yeah. James, let's go, Brandon.
My friend James from work is here in the chat. James, hello, James. Good to see you. Glad you caught the show.
I hope he's writing that as sarcasm, but if he isn't, okay. Bless your heart.
Yep. So, what else is going on?
What about Israel?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's another thing we need to talk about. We could wrap up the show. Yeah. So Israel is, they're taking the gloves off. They're not screwing around, man. They took out about 100 Hezbollah. Big guys. And
they took out because they have a list, and they've taken out everybody from the top down to the 10 rows of the top people in the pyramid, and they've taken them all out. They've got all the top leadership there, and they're, of course, our esteemed leaders telling you better not attack their nuclear power plant or their nuclear facilities, and it's like, if they're going to do it, they're going to do it, and there's nothing Biden can do about it. He's pretty ineffectual at everything he does anyway. So
he's been wrong on foreign policy 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Oh, and what gets me are these liberals. They're calling Israel, oh, this is war crimes. They killed civilians. Well, I think I sent you guys a link from Ryan Macbeth, where some Yahoo professor was calling this a war crime. And Macbeth, he breaks it down what a war crime is and what it isn't. And says this wasn't a war crime because
well, it's like one of the things that Israel's doing now that when they went into started going into Lebanon, is they've recorded everything as they go. They're real good about documenting and recording stuff, and they've already released some of the tapes showing where the Hezbollah commanders were hiding out in civilian homes. You know, they had
Right.
tunnels underneath all these civilian homes. Same thing Hamas does, you know. And Iran's little temper tantrum where they threw out those, 100 missiles. Well,
Yep.
they'd already warned the United States and everybody they were going to do it. Like, okay, you better get all your people out of the way because we're firing off missiles at 8 o'clock tonight, you know.
Yep.
And and we're going to be landing them right in this little circle over here. Okay, so make sure there's nobody standing there, because they realize that they're not stupid. They don't want a full scale war with Israel,
Right.
because Israel has a doomsday scenario or a doomsday plan. And I guarantee you, if that happens, you think oil prices are high now? Wait until they get through.
Right.
Because there won't be no place to get oil but in the United States.
Right. That's right.
Thank God I live in Oklahoma. We got lots of it.
Well, also, Ryan Macbeth talked about the missile strike from Iran.
Yeah.
That is like $300 billion that they blew in that strike. I mean, that's not no small pocket change. That's a lot of money that they wasted.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of those missiles landed in the desert.
Yeah.
And the ones that got close to their targets were shot out of the sky.
Yeah. Iron Dome got them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Israel, and this is the problem. This is what's really, I think, ticks off the American government is just sitting there right now. Israel and like the CIA, they're probably just crapping their pants because they want to know, how do we get some of those pagers out like that? How'd you do that? That was an ingenious plan. That was like something out of a James Bond or out of a, it was an amazing feat that they were able to do that,
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, good God, they got 1,000 people out of that,
Yep.
that either got killed or injured. They really put a hurt to them, and then they turned around and started bombarding them, and it's just like that. Their regime, for the most part, just started falling, And when they got that top guy, well, that pissed off Iran, and they had to make some sort of an effort, but it was all, most of it was for show, because they warned everybody. And I just think that's one of the silliest things they do, and like you said, $300 billion wasted, where their people could probably use some more food and stuff like that. But no, they're going to shoot off $300 billion worth of missiles that are totally ineffective,
Well, I wonder how much of that $300 billion came from us.
Came from what?
From us.
Oh, yeah, most of it came from the damn money that we released that we've had on hold since the Iran hostage crisis in 1980.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep. And
Biden's an idiot. Because ever since that happened, Hamas and Hezbollah have gone crazy doing this crap.
Right. Oh, and don't forget the Houthis.
Oh, the Houthis, yeah.
So...
And don't forget the blowfish that followed them.
Yep, that's right. Houthis and the blowfish. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was good, Charles. That was good. It was bad, but it was good. Yeah. It's one of those like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that, but that was funny. You don't say a lot, Charles, but when you do, you always make it worthwhile.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Whereas I talk all the time and nothing I say makes sense. Friggin' dog's agreeing with me. That pissed me off.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Now both of them are barking.
So Iran's proxies are all taking a beating, and they left them high and dry, and then their token gesture was to lob about 180 to 200 missiles into Israel. And here's the thing. I mean, Iran is pretty far away from Israel.
Yeah.
And it's going to take them a few hours before those missiles land. It's kind of like, oh, there we go, watching the radar going, yeah, we got something. And then they already know where it's going to land, the trajectory when it starts to make that arc. So that's how the Iron Dome works.
Yeah.
Is they track the missile, and if it keeps going in a certain direction, they know pretty much that's where it's going to go. Unless they got some kind of missile that could change direction or deviate, and that makes it harder to.
Here's the difference between a missile and a rocket. You know, being a former munitions man, a rocket is unguided.
Yes.
A missile is guided. So, yes, it could change direction. If they're using missiles in the Iron Dome, it can track and follow whatever it's locked onto.
Right.
If it's a missile, you know. But if they're like just shooting up rockets, that's like the rockets they're shooting, the Hezbollah has been shooting over. They've been shooting some missiles too, but they've shot a lot of rockets, and those are just, basically pull the trigger and pray. You know, you send enough of them, they're going to hit something. But yeah, it's one of the first things I learned in the Air Force when I started training for munitions: the difference between a missile and a rocket.
Right.
And I've loaded both on aircraft, so and I guarantee you, it's a big difference. All missiles have a guidance system of some sort.
That's right.
So they can lock onto a target and take it out.
All right. Speaking of rockets, it looks like this show is about to make a landing. So I want to thank everybody in the chat for coming. Please spread the news of this channel. Let's grow this channel. We're up to 490 right now. Let's get it over 500 and let's get it out to the widest audience we can. You all have a great evening, and God bless, and catch you next week. Good night.
Good night, folks.